and gentlemen, we have our first half of the presentations done. We talked about the language, large language models, banking applications, security. We have even more interesting presentations coming. And our next presentation is very important for people who don't want to share data. There are also people who don't want to share the model. And how we can solve this issue, Peter Emelianov will talk to us about it. Let's say hello to him. Let's give you the clicker and the mic. Let me remind you that for interesting questions, we have gifts available. And please listen attentively and ask the questions you are interested in. Hello, my name is Peter. I work in BloomTech company. It's quite young. It's a fintech startup that develops confidential computation systems. And today, mutual computation systems. And we've gone a long way from a very novel idea to a very full functional product. And I will start with quite abstract discussion, and then we'll go deeper into detail and specifics. Mutual multi-party computation. It is cool, but what task does it solve, and why do we need it? To answer this question, let's imagine we have three people, Alice, Bob, and Mallory, and they're quite secret. They have secrets from each other. Alice has X, Bob has number Y, Mallory has Z. And we need to calculate the function of X, Y, and Z, but without Alice getting any information about Y and Z, Bob about X and Z, and Mallory about X and Y. A function F is the only thing that will be available to the participant of the calculation. Function can be anything, starting from summarization to training and inference of a neural net. What can be simpler? That three friends choose some party, they will give the party their numbers, the party will be able to calculate any function, X, Y, and Z, and definitely for some cost. There are solutions for that on the market, especially the big players of the data market come up with those solutions. And I don't want to say that they're wrong, but first, those computations are not confidential. Second, it's about the eggs that you put in one basket, and it's boring. There's no innovation to trust based on the authority. We have, you know the pros and cons. But this is not our way. We will be solving a different task. Let us remove the third party from the equation. We can build a mathematical protocol that will enable our friends to calculate their X, Y, and Z-based function by themselves without trusting their numbers to anyone. You can build such protocol for any function, whichever it is, and of course this protocol will resume some informational exchange. But they will be exchanging not their number, but some special text that are indistinguishable from random number, from the general distribution. So the family of those protocols is called multi-party computation. In BloomTech, we do this for quite a while. We try to solve some practical tasks with it, starting from medical data aggregation and up to total time of Moscow taxi workers shifts. And of course, we went to fintech some time ago because money likes silence. What we get from it is a class of systems that are called bank confidential scoring. So let me try to define functionally this class. Let's replace Alice and Bob with some bank. The banks have clients and they know something about their client. Say X, Y, and Z. The specific clients, and the number is the number of a bank. So banks can send requests about specific client and get in return the total of the metrics about this client computed separately. So the bank can request something about me and get an answer about me, say 42. Why do the banks need this? Because this is a super valuable store of extra data to put into your scoring, and this will improve your scoring decision significantly. And with that, you can be very accurate at predicting the income of your client. There's a lot of bank stuff that can be solved with this. So not everything will be a confidential scoring system if it's designed this way. Because when we talk about banking, there's a whole set of secrets, starting with commercial secrets and up to banking secrets and privacy. Those are legal terms and they require some discussion. We worked with the banks for quite a while, more than a year. And an important result of our work is that we were able to formulate 5 requirements to the confidential scoring security system. We will talk about them in detail, but let's say that any system that adheres to these 5 requirements is a confidential scoring system, and it does not disclose any secret. But how do we check that some scoring system is confidential? How do we check that they adhere to those 5 requirements? We will have to create a threat model and actor model, because if we don't do this, there will be space for sophistication and speculation. For example, someone looked over my shoulder in the metro and someone saw my balance and loudly said that Peter has this amount of money in this bank. So first 2 requirements are broken and my bank secret is disclosed. Of course, it has nothing to do with the system, but the properties are, the requirements are not satisfied, and thus the system is not secure. So we've created a threat model and actor model that are very deep and big models. But all my further discussions will be based on those 2 models. So if I say that this system does not disclose this secret, means that 5 qualities of security are adhered to within this threat model. Metrics confidentiality and client service anonymity. This means that no bank should be able to know any metrics of any client in any specific bank. And no bank should know about any other banks that the client has accounts in. Let me tell you about this, how we solve this. In PC edition, let's say we have Bob in 3 banks, with accounts in 3 banks, with 5, 4, and 1,000 rubles in each bank. Let's try to understand how much money does Bob have in each and every bank without the other banks knowing how much money they have in other banks. So we summarize it with 3 random numbers. One number is kept with one bank and the others given to others. And on the second step, we have 3 random numbers. You can't do anything with it, so they just sum it. On the step 3, they have random numbers, and you can see that those 3 numbers have 10,000 rubles together. So if they shout out loud, -30, -3, and 43, they can sum it up and say 10,000 rubles. So the task is solved. Random numbers are exchanged, but the result is correct.
Особенно если ты гений.
Everything is easy if you're a genius, but for us it's hard. If you take an average programmer, ask him to generate a random number, he will give you something like this. At least me, I would do it like this. But will you trust such a random number generator, the entropy for the bank transaction? Definitely, it's a question, because you don't know beforehand what is the source of physical entropy that this generator uses.
Подкидываем, ловим, смотрим.
It seems to be quite easy, like, you throw a coin and you can create any amount of bits of random entropy. But what is your coin made of? What is the, what are the properties? And does your coin have the license from the regulator? They said that the Cloudflare has a wall of lava lamps, and they use it as a source of physical entropy. They make a photo once a second, process it, and get some number of random bits. So when Bloom Tech grows up, we will definitely make something like this. But most probably just for the beauty of it. We will be using something like this. It's a hardware random number generator from a certified producer. It's reliable and it's not expensive. The most important is that it has a paper from the authority saying that the entropy is correct with this hardware. And the responsibility for that is with this authority. That is why everything works as it should be.
Теперь поговорим о том, что напрямую к свойствам безопасности.
So we dealt with the random. And let's now talk about what has nothing to do with the security properties, but has a lot to do with the possibility of those banks to calculate simultaneously. So we have 3 banks, 3 squares, and 6 arrows. If there's 4 banks and 12, then the 5 banks, then it's 20. So it's square function of the amount of banks. But Russian Federation has 327 banks. If they all connect, my issue will rise to the next level. And I will be really committed to choosing the lava lamps to my room. So let's scale beforehand. This random numbers exchange is sharing of a secret. And the dependency of the round of the number of exchange rounds between the banks is very well known. So it was a hard task, but we managed to randomly divide the 0. The idea is if you work a little bit with the random number generators or pseudo-random generators, you will be able to make the parties to generate the numbers that give 0 together. But then each and every bank will be able to generate the number added to its number and get something that will behave like random garbage. You can pass it to everyone, but if we summarize these numbers, then we get the sum of the client metrics. Very convenient. So the secret sharing algorithm becomes constant, not even linear, because with masking of those random numbers, you don't need to exchange any information. To tell you the truth, for this to work, you need some preliminary phase, initialization stage, where the amount of exchange will be
Заряжает банки
the square function. But it does not run too often, and it gives enough entropy for the banks to answer a lot of questions. And the security properties keep being alive. Let's come back to the property. Number 3 and 4. Request initiate anonymity and client anonymity in the request means that the banks answering the request should not be able to understand the source of the request. The bank should not know which bank has sent the request. Not a very simple task. We thought a lot about it. And we even wanted to create a ring between the banks with the previous and next position for the bank are randomized, and we pretty much succeeded because the ring has no beginning and no end. Very hard to define which one is the first, but we found a number of attacks that were compromising this algorithm. So we could not guarantee the security properties of this algorithm. So without the third party, we can't survive. And here is the classical third party. Here is the small one is ours. So the third party in our case cannot get any bank data in any way, shape, or form. This is just a service function that hides the source of request from the other and orchestrates how the distributed network works, health check, availability, and so forth. So our third party is called an operator, and bank, during the request, sends the request to the operator, which leads to the operator hiding the source of request from the banks that are replying. And the property number 4, which says that the operator should not know anything about physical clients that the request is addressed. So all the client information is encrypted, only the banks have the keys, and the operator just sends the encrypted message to the banks and back. And the operator is the same kind of source, so he's taken into account in the threat and actor models, and it does not affect the security, but it helps gain security. The result confidentiality, the last property, means that no bank, apart from the initiator of the request, should not get the answer to his request. So the aggregated metrics should be available only to the bank that asked the question, that asked for. So with everything said previously, this is quite easy to organize, meaning that the bank does not send any metrics or any masks to anybody, but the banks that reply to the request do. So those masked bank metrics, just garbage. But for the result to be available, you need all of them. But as the initiator did not give that number, so he's the only one who can get all the garbage from everybody else, put his own on top of it, and then get the sum of the client metric. So the request initiator is the only one who gets the result. The property number 5 is satisfied. In the end, the boom-tech scoring infrastructure is a distributed system with the participants that are banks and operator. Operator just provides the service function, does not get any access to any bank data, does not consolidate them. Banks control their own data, they don't pass it to anyone, but their analytical potential is significantly increased based on the data from other banks. Bloom-tech scoring infrastructure is a distributed network that enables the trust through mathematical protocol. Why is it cool? First, because this is a production-ready solution that can be scaled to thousands of banks.
Выполнение вот
And it can guarantee this satisfaction of all those properties within the current threat and actor model.
но
I'm not sure that we have the only possible implementation of the algorithm, but this is the only system of this class that I know. Moreover, we have a paper from very well-known developer of cryptography,
огромный
which has all the licenses and huge experience analyzing the protocols. And this paper says that the Bloomtech protocol ensures the successful implementation of the five properties, and the software implementation is exactly what the protocol says. So this work with the cybersecurity company was a long one, and it wasn't easy, and we are proud of this. Next, I wanted to direct your attention to one thing. Some people who like to simplify, call what is happening the data exchange. I need to ensure that this is not just data exchange. This is mutual usage of data. There's no exchange of data because no one is sending any data to anyone and not consolidating it anyway. Those are not just words, but mathematical facts. So trust math, but not the other people's authority, because the mathematics does not have force majeure. That's all for my presentation, and I will be happy to answer your question.
Спасибо большое за доклад, очень интересно, неожиданно с какими трудностями.
Thank you for the presentation. It's interesting which difficulties you met on your way, and it's quite a simple task that we thought.
Когда
But it's important to say that it's just it's easy just for the humans, but if you know about all the requirements to the system, those are very specific and very hard. Dear friends, please ask your questions. Remember that we have gifts, 2 t-shirts, 2 gifts.
Может быть, не услышал, последовательно.
Maybe I did not hear it, I'm sorry, but the
К своему значению, что
the sequence that all the elements of which are 0,
да.
that is used in the method. Who generates it? The banks themselves.
достаточно редко.
There's initialization phase, usually run say, once a month. As part of that phase, banks exchange some crypto material that is then used as the input for the random number generator.
Генерировать случайные числа, которые всегда в сумме будут давать.
They enable to generate simultaneously the random numbers that will be together give you 0. But they're random, so if you just
Достать его тут невозможно.
Я понял.
summarize 2 of them or 3 of them, you have just high entropy garbage.
потом
Yeah, question from here, and then
У меня есть двух частей вопрос, если можно.
okay, 2 parts of my question. First,
Есть такой институт, как Бюро кредитных историй, да? Получается, что он уже
we have Credit Story Bureau question,
где вот вы относительно друг друга, потому что он уже есть, да?
and
Уже туда что-то передают. То есть, соответственно, минуса они
we
уже.
wanted to understand what the banks are sending to each other. So they can.
Это, соответственно, про 350 банков, которые есть в России. Какое количество людей, у которых чувство
Second part is out of
потому что я беру
350 banks in Russia,
у меня там один банк, где у меня деньги, и два, где еще счета там
because I have 2 banks, and one of them is have money, and another I have 2,000. For how many people
чтобы вот так опрашивать 350.
it is important to
Часть номер 1 — кредитное бюро. Вы-
ask those 350 agents? Well, credit bureaus is actually an old thing that's with us. I don't want to criticize them. We are going parallel tracks.
4817 это, ну, обычные дебетовые счета.
It's
Вот. Почему?
4817.
Как можно сделать с кредитными бюро? Потому что они регулируются строже. То есть просто нельзя взять и вот какой-нибудь, ну,
Why don't we work with credit bureaus? Because they're centralized. You put all the information in one place, and well, this will work, but you know, there are some nuances.
Бюро достаточно долго протаскивает.
With
так не получится.
debit accounts, you cannot do it.
Я считаю, что мы не конкурируем. По крайней мере, пока.
So I think we are not competitive, at least for now, and we don't want to compete with them. They have their own niche. We have our own niche.
В среднем в России у
As far as I know, we looked at the statistics. Average Russian is 2.7 bank.
Продолжу вот вашу идею.
But
Ничего страшного, если у вас
let me continue with this idea. You have just one bank. For this system, you are a very good client because you know, a lot of things can happen, and you can go to another bank for a loan. And okay, so if we deduct the green, the red, and the blue bank, how many banks? Okay, the yellow. How many banks will be there? Okay, you can name the banks.
не будем, они
Well, we can remove the green and the blue. The others are here. So there's quite some potential.
людей, я не буду называть цифры, но это прям значимый процент клиентов этих банков совершают в месяц ровно 4.
But I can tell you that a lot of clients
Пришел аванс,
do 4 transactions. They get the salary and they send it to the yellow bank, and they get the advance payments and they send it to the yellow bank. So those transactions are tracked.
Спасибо большое за доклад. У меня есть такой вопрос. Из ваших
Thank you for the presentation. I have a question for you.
метрики, которые вы собираете, напрямую
The
зависит от количества
effectiveness of the metric you get it depends on the amount of banks that are interested in connecting to the system. How many banks do you have now?
оператором, как я понимаю, является
And
да?
if I understand correctly, Bloomtech is the operator.
Скажем так, операторскую инфраструктуру, например,
Can we deploy the operator infrastructure on some other organization's platform in some other country, for example? Answering your first question, how many banks are interested? About 20.
какие-то работы проделала по
A
интеграции.
part of them already did some integration, but we have 20 active interested clients. We don't have the green and we don't have the blue.
А
Well, if we mix the green and the blue, you get the brown. Bloomtech is the operator,
компания
but I don't think it's an obstacle because any other company can run the same exercise, not just some thing that Bloomtech has done. It's an algorithm that you can implement differently. Those class of systems is defined, and if you can comply with those 5 requirements, you will have a scoring structure that will work differently.
Скажем так, я правильно понял ваш вопрос, запускать это где-то в другой стране.
And we have nothing against launching it in some other country, of course, if it's a friendly country.
Пока передают микрофон, вот можно вопрос от меня. Мы сейчас
Okay, so while we pause the mic, the question: the banks are now thinking about open APIs, and we'll be exchanging data. Yeah, we actually compete a lot with AFT and open APIs. We had some discussion in the central bank, and I'd say we achieved victory. So,
Сказал,
no,
вот пусть так и будет. Ну, конкурируем, значит,
very wise Chinese ruler said that all the flowers bloom, that 100 flowers bloom. So, I agree with him. But the user has to agree to the data transfer, correct? Yes, correct. Each and every financial service should be used, and AFT might even comply with 5 rules. Okay, congratulations. I will go work for them. Thank you. I have another question. Yeah. Thank you for a great presentation. And the question is, what will happen if the sum of the random numbers is not zero? For example, if one of the banks cannot transfer its part, for example, because of the hacker's attack or some technical issue. In that case, the sum will not be correct. And based on that, the work of the system will depend on the reliability factors for each and every bank. Yeah, it is correct. If the number is wrong, the sum will be huge because the random masks are huge numbers. The chance of a person having minus number of billion is low, so the mistake will be found, and it happens. The probability of the reliability, it depends on each and every bank, and of course we do our best to make it a highly redundant system.
Здравствуйте, можно следующий вопрос? Я являюсь представителем одного из банков.
One more question. I'm the representative of one of the banks that you said are not participating and not do not know your product. Question. Based on your model, the correct result will be received only if all the banks are integrated with your system. If it's 5-10%, the end result will have a lot of mistakes, a lot of errors. So how do you invite your clients? What is the extra value for your client?
Большой вопрос, опять же по порядку.
Well, a big question. What is the value for the bank? I'm not a banker. I don't know how the bank scoring models are built, but seeing the interest that the banks have in this system, I'm quite impressed. We talked about the open APIs, have a competitor that suggests we solve the same task with a more invasive, in a more invasive way, and the answer is the banks do know how to use it. So at the new banks, I'm doing it right now, same as everybody. And about the results reliability, remembering the question about the person, about the blue and the green bank, if you have 10% of the bank, how many will you have? Well, it will depend on the number of banks, their client bases, and I think having something better than nothing. The information that the banks receive, they don't use it blindly. They use it for some machine learning models, and this is statistically important. So, of course, more banks is better information.
Главная цель.
Ну, скорее, это, наверное,
But
какой-то
this is our main goal.
да, который как раз-таки
So
разрабатывает.
maybe this is an alternative open API transport, right? Because many users will
Делиться какой-то
reject sharing their information. There's a lot of options
которые, ну,
for
там,
sharing your confidential information that is statistically important but does not disclose the,
что не
uh,
раскрывает как бы
the
персональную
specific information.
невозможно восстановить. Кажется,
Um,
вот этот альтернативный путь
I think that this alternative way will work, some point.
Потому что OpenAPI, ну, как я вижу, OpenAPI это скорее...
I'm not sure this is an alternative to OpenAPI, because I think it's a B2C story that they target me as client.
мобильного телефона сделает классную апку, которая агрегирует в себе все мои банковские счета.
Imagine you have, an app that will aggregate all my accounts. I have a yellow application, a red application,
Но опять же, таргет в этой системе буду я как клиент.
but I will be the target of this system. And this is just for B2B. This is just transport.
Ну, там какой-то
Yeah, we thought this can be transport for OpenAPI,
А можно еще дополнить вопрос?
but there's a lot of functions there. One more question to continue. Did you count the amount of banks you need to integrate with your system to get something statistically significant to
Отвечу на этот вопрос так. Мы 2 года назад проводили упражнение,
well, 2 years ago,
там в этом упражнении
we
4 банка, я, к сожалению, не буду
had
сейчас не уверен.
an estimation with 4 banks participating,
Был один красный и один
2 yellow banks, 1 red bank, 1
уральский.
Euros bank.
Вот, на этих 4 банках у нас хитрейт
These 4 banks,
7%.
our hit rate was 36%.
Берем случайного прохожего на улице и смотрим, с какой вероятностью
Effectively, we look at a random guy, and
в одном из них будет счет. И вот получилось 37%.
a 37% hit rate for this guy to have an account in one of these 4 banks.
Ну, болтаться где-нибудь не ниже там 10%, а
We thought it will be below 10%, but
ну, опять же, еще раз, я не банкир.
it's 37.
Прям такие
I'm not a banker, and I cannot be an expert
вот из этих 4 банков. Это хорошо. То есть этот значимый результат.
to, qualify this for the banks, but this is important for those 4 banks, and it's significant.
Ну, помимо вопроса еще небольшая ремарка. Меня немного веселит фраза математика.
One remark for
Что уже не одно столетие.
this phrase that math is
Так называемые три
an exact
слабых места математики.
science,
И тот факт, что ну, с
even though there's a lot of weak spots in science, and
которым довольно достаточно
given the fact that machines work with math that
люди аналитически. Не сказать,
cannot
что
work with
невозможно.
numbers like people analytically.
Вернет искусственный интеллект, учитывая, что
We
даже
don't know who will
инновации многие профессора признают,
use the AI and how will use the AI on this. Even the professor said that they cannot use the academic model on all the processes. So my question is, I came closer to the end of the presentation. For me, it's very interesting, based on the difficulty of which specific mathematical problem is your system security based. Well, it's a big question. It has a number of parts,
Значит, я понял, что
and
мне понравился этот маркетинговый слоган, но
I see you didn't like this marketing MVP. Okay, don't pay attention to it.
ту идею, что лучше так, чем просто складывать все в одну корзину, как у нас обычно.
Let's just say it's better than without any alternative. So the question is, what is the alternative?
Что-то точнее математики.
So something that is more exact than math. Can you provide something? Fortunately, the humanity has not offered anything.
И думаю, что я продолжу делать так же и впредь.
So I will continue to trust math, and you can decide what you want to trust. And regarding your other question about the difficulty of the task that is,
Там разные криптографии используют.
it's different task, different cryptography is being used.
Вот прям про наш ноу-хау, про вот эти вот совместные конвенциальные вычисления, ну, вы видели, что там, в принципе, ну, я же...
We saw that, you take a random number.
Число. Если я, ну, смотрите, небольшой криптограф, если я не ошибаюсь,
Not a cryptographer. So this is called statistical guarantee of security.
вы получили что-то, что статистически неотличимо от чего-то другого.
You got something that statistically indistinguishable from something else. The last question.
Нужно в микрофон, потому что у нас...
Опять же, возвращаясь к математике, складывается
Coming back to math, I'm under an impression that after using some
псевдослучайных чисел.
cryptography, you just have a random number generated that is distributed between the clients. Is it safe? Well,
Их подтвердила компания, которая
the confirmation of the security of the algorithm is done by the company that is developing the random number generators and
Они полгода исследовали наш протокол.
others. So they've been
И это продолжалось, как я уже сказал,
researching our protocol for about a year, and we got their
Я разработчик этой системы, я ее продавил.
verdict that this is okay. I'm developing the system and studying,
Ни в коем случае.
and it's hard for me to, for you to trust me. That is why we got the independent confirmation, and we are thinking of getting an even more serious confirmation of a well-known regulator
Регулирует разработку средств защиты информации.
regulating the crypto security.
Фундаментально в основе алгоритма
Well, fundamentally,
китайской теоремы, которая...
in as a base of the algorithm is the great Chinese theorem.
Она довольно...
As
Насколько я знаю, она... Ну, то есть существует
the
уже...
math that exists for a number of ages. It's the numbers theory. And
Я менеджер, поэтому, когда спрашивают про математику,
yeah, I'm a manager. I cannot give you that much detail. Okay, the best question. Two best questions, both about math.
Последние два.
The best one was the hardest for me to reply to.
Да, давайте поблагодарим Петра за его доклад.
Let's say thank you to Peter for his presentation.
спасибо вам большое.
Желаем ему скорее обрести стену с лавовыми лампами.
And of course, we wish him to get his lava lamps.